Welcome to the Warband, a World of Warcraft podcast. My name is Swag, and with me, the co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Chicken. Dude, Chicken, I was thinking, what if today we just... Because there's no news, man. Literally nothing has been announced this week. Nothing's happened this week. Like, nothing is going on in World of Warcraft. Either we can, like, if you want... this can just be it. We can just let people know to come back next week for more content, or we can talk about Fortnite for the rest of the stream. What do you think?
Fortnite. That was pretty good. Come on.
Nah, dude. So much has happened. So much. First of all, the midnight reveal stuff. We're gonna talk a lot about that. The good, the bad, the ugly. I will dude. Listen, I'm hyped for midnight. I'm so hyped for midnight.
A lot of stuff, actually.
There were some things though that like I really don't love with the midnight release, and most of it's not actually about midnight things, about how the release happened. But we'll talk about that soon. What I want to talk about though, before anything else, because I think everything else is once we get into it, we're not going to stop. We're just not going to stop. So what I want to talk about with you is like, dude, Race to World First just concluded yesterday. I was at the Renaissance Fair with my wife. And I'm like checking.
Were you actually?
Yeah, it was a fun time. But I'm like checking my phone occasionally throughout the day, trying to like see what percentage the bosses are at in the Race World First. We get home and like the two of us are sitting on the couch watching the race. I don't know if she totally knew what was happening, but she was enjoying my excitement over the race and me explaining why this was so big. But for people who don't watch the Race to World First, so quick summary: the Race to World First is like the top WoW guilds competing to see who can kill the final boss of the raid, which I think in this case, because there was an optional boss, I think it required all bosses of the raid. In the past, it was just the final boss because you had to get to there. But included all the bosses of the raid. You had to defeat every boss in the raid first. And the big competition is usually Liquid versus Echo. Liquid representing American players generally, and Liquid representing Echo... I want to make sure I got that right. Liquid representing American players, Echo representing European players.
EU, baby.
However, Method was heavily in the contending this time around. Some people predicted it. Some people weren't so sure. We knew Method would be better because they picked up some awesome players. We just didn't know how much better they would be. I believe Method was around 20% of the final boss when the race finally ended, which in a normal race would still be impressive. In a normal race would still be impressive. But, dude, okay, so, bro, were you watching the race?
I'll be honest with you, I did not watch.
Okay, let me summarize this. Let me summarize this race. First of all, it's like neck and neck most of the time. Echo's ahead a little bit on like I think they get one boss down, but then Liquid's ahead for most of the bosses. But Method's not far behind. Method does really well. So you have this like 3 guild competition, which we haven't had in a while. Normally it's 2 guilds competing. Hot Pot Hero was in 4th. That's a Chinese guild. They did okay. They kept up. Now there is a big bounty for a Chinese guild to actually win Race to World First. And every season they don't win, that bounty goes up more and more and more. So I think we might see China competing heavier in the next couple years as that bounty continues to rise, as the funds are there, because we know Chinese players can be really good. They just haven't had any incentive to compete in this realm.
Together.
Yeah, they just haven't had incentive. But what's so fascinating is Liquid Echo, they're competing on Dimensius, the final boss, and I'm watching go, dude, neck and neck, right? Like Echo goes to bed and they're ahead, right? They wake up, Liquid's ahead. Liquid goes to bed, Echo gets ahead, right? And it's just back and forth. Yeah. Finally, they're at like 1% and 2%. It's crazy, dude. Like, literally, they're getting down to the final 1% and 2% of Dimensius. They're so freaking close. Then Echo, and Echo's doing like a late night. Like, they're just not going to bed. They're just pushing because they know if they go to sleep, they're going to wake up. They're going to wake up and Liquid has won. And you don't want to do that. You can't go to sleep when you know that your opponent's going to win by the time you wake up. So they're competing. They're pushing. Echo gets Dimensius to 0.01% 2 times in a row. 2 pulls in a row, 0.01% HP. That is bonkers.
That's kind of crazy.
That is bonkers. At this point, I'm sitting there on the couch watching this. I'm like, yo, no shot. No shot. And these two groups are just pulling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No shot that, like, Echo doesn't just get it. Right? Like, if they can keep that momentum, they just get it. And somehow, somehow Liquid pulls through, and they end up getting the win. So I'm a big Liquid fan. I like it when Liquid wins. Echo, you guys are awesome. I love the competition. I love that we get to show off such excellent gameplay. But I do root for Liquid, and so I was hyped, bro. This was probably like you remember our first ever guest on the podcast that we had, Overbug, right? He's like texting me today afterwards. He's like, bro, did you see the Race to World First? Like, that's crazy. This was for sure the best Race to World First I think I've ever watched. It was so close and so cool. I don't usually watch early Race to World First stuff. Sometimes I'll like listen to the commentary because it gives good commentary on, how classes are doing. Like the casters just give some good information on stuff, but the gameplay's like, okay, whatever's going on. But man, when you start getting towards the end game of the Race to World First, oh, it was so good. So I know we got plenty to talk about, but I just wanted to make sure we took a second and like, wow, that was a good Race to World First.
Yeah, to be honest, I typically try and follow it. This time, I just didn't. I don't even have a really good excuse for it. I just didn't follow it. There's just too much going on. I think I kind of came in towards the end of like, I just kind of want to see how it's going, see what's going on. And then it was like, oh yeah, it's kind of to the point where it's not done yet, but it's probably going to be done in the next not even in the next week, like the next day. Sorry.
Yeah.
And typically in the past I've kept up with it, but with my job and kind of just current life, it makes it really hard to kind of keep an eye on it. So
I think what got me too, I think what got me with the race is the last two races Liquid swept. Like Liquid did so good in the last two races. And so I went into this one knowing that Echo had a slight roster change, knowing that Method had a really good roster change. And I went into this going, okay, Method's going to need some time for their players to learn how to play together. They got some good players, but it's not like they're not going to turn around overnight. Method used to be an amazing raiding guild, and they're still amazing. Like, by all accounts, still amazing. They're just not, like, number one anymore, like they maybe once were. But, they had a roster change, and so it's like, okay, they got some great players, but it's going to take some time to get used to it, right? Like, it's kind of like when America competes in the Olympics for basketball, and we have the best basketball players, but then when you put them all on one team, they just don't know how to play together as a team, right? Like, you kind of just have to take whatever the best basketball team from that season is and send that to the Olympics, because it's easier for a team to coordinate than it is just for a bunch of really good players to coordinate. And so that's what I thought with Method. I was like, okay, Method's going to need some time. Echo, again, roster change. They're going to probably need some time, and they already haven't been doing super great. So, like, Liquid has this. There's no shot that Liquid doesn't win. And, again, Liquid did win, but, man, I was expecting it to be like a easy win. But, bro, it was... Everybody just did so good. Liquid did so good. Echo did so good. Method. I know Method came in third place, but man, they were pumping. They did fantastic. Like it was exciting. It was fun. And again, people are always talking about like World of Warcraft's a dead game. WoW's a dead game. People used to say that all the time. By the way, like back in our Fortnite content days, we used to have kids come in all the time to chat and just be like, "Wow, or Fortnite's a dead game." People say about WoW all the time, but bro, when I pull up the listing for like top channel like content on Twitch, and like WoW sitting in the top 5, like WoW is consistently always pretty high up. Maybe it's not always the highest, right? Like Race to World First, it was way up there, right?
Yeah.
But even right now, right? Like it's a top 10. It's a top 10 right now. Race is over. There's still the new season. It's above Fortnite. It's above Counter-Strike right now. Right, it's above Marvel Rivals. It's above Apex. It's above Call of Duty. Right, it perform like WoW. Listen, for whatever people want to say, World of Warcraft is alive and well. Like maybe it's not the World of Warcraft when Lich King came out and it was the most popular game ever. Maybe it's not that right now, but man,
sure.
Oh, it's popping.
It's a pretty happening game, dude.
And I love when we get the attention of these events on it.
Yeah. I, I want to go like a totally opposite way, but
Take
I'm
it.
not going to.
Oh, okay.
No, we got way too much to talk about. That it's not even relevant to WoW. Actually, it would just be like a totally opposite direction. So I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, I mean, the Race to World First is kind of cool. I mean, I think it's the best event that. Well, it's like like an oxymoron what I'm about to say. It's the best event that Blizzard puts on, and it's not even like put on by Blizzard.
No, they do nothing. I mean, we say they do nothing, but we know that Blizzard's watching it closely and that they're adjusting things on the fly to make Blizzard makes sure it goes well, but they don't like sponsor it. They don't host anything. And I think that honestly, I think that's probably to some degree smart on Blizzard's part. Like,
it is, yeah.
If they played their cards really right, they could probably turn Race to World First into this awesome, super hype, promotional, whatever, right? However, I think Blizzard is also aware that, for better or for worse, that if they get their hands on it, there's also a very likely chance that they'll just make it worse, right? And so it's a lot easier to be like, this thing's running well, people are hyped. These teams are doing their own fantastic job creating broadcasts, pulling in sponsors, creating something that feels polished. Like when you watch the Liquid live stream, it's so polished and good that you really feel like you're watching something important.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, 100%. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to say, but yeah, it's a pretty good event.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of weird to think that it's not actually put on by Blizzard because it's one of their most successful, like almost competitive events, if you will. So yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a weird take, but what can you do?
What can you do? Man. Anyways, we can move on from that topic. That was just something that I want to make sure that in the
we haven't even talked.
Else.
We haven't even said anything about like anything. Like, how's your week been? Like, what's for dinner? Anything,
bro, we got too much.
Bro.
There's too much. There's too much WoW this week, bro. Too much WoW.
Too much to talk about, and here we are lollygagging. Anyways, what'd you do this week? Anything cool in WoW?
In World of Warcraft, I've been working on dungeons. So kind of knocking out dungeons, practicing healing. It's been fun. It's been really fun. It's a different role to play than what I've been traditionally playing, but I'm picking it up. I'm learning it well. A lot of the same stuff I think I said last week of just getting accustomed to it, trying to figure it out. I don't have my 4-piece still. I still don't have my 4-piece.
No, don't worry.
I could probably go. I mean, I'll have it this week for sure. Like this reset.
Oh, yeah, most people will have it this week.
Yeah, well, right, because this reset, I think, we get the second converter item or something. So I could just like force it. I'm just hoping I don't have to, so that I can upgrade a piece, later. So, but it's good. I'm really enjoying healing. It's a nice change of pace from tanking all the time. I still love tanking. Tanking's wonderful, but it is nice for one season not having to be the guy who figures out all the routes and tells everybody where to go and like how to do their job. And it's nice just showing up.
Fair.
It's nice just showing up and being like, I'm gonna tag along and see what happens. And I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I will admit, week 1 we had a really bad gambit run. Like a really bad gambit run on a +2 of all things. And it was terrible. Like we literally couldn't get past the boss. I think some of it was tuning on the dragon boss was just too high. I really do think some of the tuning was too high on the dragon boss week 1. I also think that our group was ignoring mechanics that they shouldn't have been ignoring. Again, it's a +2, so like, who knows? But it was the one time this entire season I got stuck in a dungeon and couldn't leave. So I'm trying to get Keystone Hero without doing Gambit at all.
Keystone Hero?
Yeah.
Without doing what?
Gambit.
Oh, dude, there's no way.
So that's my goal right now. My goal is to get Keystone Hero and not touch Gambit. By the way, I actually love Gambit. I think Gambit's a fun dungeon, but I set this goal for myself and I have to stick to it. Once I'm done that goal, then I can go do Gambit. Which, by the way,
Keystone Hero is nutty, dude. Keystone Master, easy. Keystone Hero, that's pretty nutty, dude.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's possible. I don't even know if it's possible, to be honest.
You'd have to do like all 13s probably.
I think so.
Maybe all 14s.
I might have to do the math on it. In my head, I was thinking 12s, but you're probably right.
No way it's 12s, dog.
Dude, wouldn't it be wild, though? Wouldn't it be wild if you got Keystone Hero, didn't even touch one dungeon, Bro, the jump from that to then Keystone Legend would basically be like most of that jump.
Oh, you know what?
would
Now
just
that
be
you're
running one
saying it,
dungeon.
it might just be all 12s, to be honest.
Yeah.
All 12s might do it, but that's gonna be a lot of work.
Yeah, but it could be fun. It's a fun little challenge.
That's a cool little cool little side quest, if you will.
Speaking of which, have you had a chance now that you've had a couple weeks in to do the new dungeon, Ecodome?
No.
Okay, yeah, it's good. I think we maybe talked about it a little bit last week, but the more I do it, it's a fun dungeon. I like the boss mechanics. I like the open world kind of concept in dungeons a lot. I've actually had a lot of fun with it. I think the first time I did it, I was like, I don't know where we're going, why we're going anywhere. We're just going places.
Yeah.
I'm following the group. And now we've done it a couple times. Like I've done a good handful of times. That was a fun one. I like that dungeon. It's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like big on pushing my own key this season, and it's kind of been working out. So
Perfect.
I'm just gonna keep pushing my own key, and I just haven't gotten it. So
Can I ask you a question, by the way?
What was that?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Yo, why haven't you asked me to heal any of your keys yet? Do you not trust me?
You haven't been on when I've been on. So.
You could be like Swag, get on game. I need a healer.
Yeah, but then I gotta wait for you to get on.
Bro, I actually just sit here at my computer with my mouse over top of BattleNet, just going. I hope Chicken texts me.
No, dude, stop it. Stop it. Although I did joke about about this halls, but then I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna run it. I have a 10 halls in my bag, and I'm like, I'm not gonna run this.
Yeah.
If there's any other 10, I'd consider running it, but at 10 halls, I'm like,
yeah, dude. Halls. I think Halls got some big nerfs though.
Yeah, but still, it's halls, bro.
You have a 10 halls in your bag right now.
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Dude, I'll run it with you after we record this.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm done for this.
Dang
this
it.
week.
Dude, I'd run it with you, bro.
Sorry.
I'd run it.
I considered just doing like a no lever.
Hero.
Yeah, I considered just doing a no lever, but I was like,
Have you gotten a 10 vault slot yet this week?
No.
Dude, don't you want that myth track, bro? Don't you want that myth track?
Yeah, I know. I should just do it.
We can run it right after this recording. Yeah, dude, we can do it.
I should just run it.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have a 10 vault slot yet?
I do not. I don't have one. I have a 10 in my bag. I just don't have the slot. I have a
what 10 do you have in your bag?
I have an Arakara in my bag, which I'm pretty sure if I time that Arakara 10, then I have Keystone Master.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Which will be pretty good. Yeah, which will be pretty good. Again, for anybody asking, I have not done a Gambit, so I'm literally trying to do this missing the entire dungeon, which is fun. I don't know. I like weird little goofy challenges like that. Plus, it's funny when you post the photo and people are like, you didn't do this dungeon.
You didn't do this. Honestly, I'm like, I kind of want to do that with halls, because halls, I did one halls. I was like, I'm going to do this on like a 5. Just to see like the route and all that kind of stuff, because I was like, I don't want to just jump in at 10 since I've never done halls as a tank. And the halls that I tanked on a 5 was terrible, awful. It was complete garbage. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this key.
Dude,
ever.
I swear every halls I've run this season, the tank has taken a different route. I swear every time I've run it, it's a different route, and I'm just like, where are we going today? What's happening? Part of me wonders if it's because, like in Shadowlands, the seasonal affixes encourage such heavy like creativity and routing that now people are like, here's 7 different ways we can run this place.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard because it's hard because, you know, I think people are so used to doing it one way, and when the affixes were what they were, I think it was so hard to not do it a certain way and be punished. Now I just feel like it's like, any way is acceptable, because it's not really that hard to do it a certain way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Totally makes sense.
Like, I mean, I we've referenced Keystone Guru a lot I use Keystone Guru all the time, and I pulled it up to do a streets because I've never tanked streets before, and it was like a pug friendly one. I was like, perfect, I'm gonna do this one, and I went to go do that route, and some guy was like, why are you going that way? That's not the way to go. And I was like, oh no, this is the new meta. And he was like, I've never seen it done that way. And I was like, okay.
Well, then why don't you tank if you care, right? Like, calm down, bro.
So the amount of times I've had that typed in chat this past 2 weeks.
By the way, DPS have it so easy. DPS have it so easy. Oh. And let me clarify why. Let me clarify why DPS have it so easy. Because I know DPS are listening to me and they're like, wow, Swag slandering us again? Swag slandering us? No, you know you like it. You know you like it when I slander you guys. But here's what I mean by DPS have it easy. As a tank, and I don't know where I would put healers in this example, right? So let's just talk tanks and DPS. As a tank, the moment you go a route that is either slightly inconvenient to the pool size for DPS to do optimal damage, or a route that is unfamiliar to the DPS, all of a sudden it's like, yo, why are we doing this? Why are you going this way?
What's going on?
But,
ping, 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 ping.
Yeah, right. But as a tank, I've never once sat and watched the rotation that my DPS are doing, right? I've never been like, why are you casting this spell before this spell? Why are you holding that proc so long? Right? Like, I've never, right? Because one is a very visual thing that you can see the moment you dislike something. And the other one, like, you kind of get some numbers on a meter, but, like, those numbers are just, like, total output. They're not actually, like, indicators of exactly what is being done, right? But imagine if it was, like, that way both ways, right? Like, just as much as DPS are like, why are we going this way? You had, like, tanks and healers that constantly just, like, watching everybody's, like, rotations like a hawk. Just like, oh,
why is your DPS so bad?
Yeah, why did you fat finger a lay on hands instead of casting a judgment? Right? Like, something stupid.
Yeah.
But
yeah, dude, it would be nuts. I'm like, yeah, it's hard being a tank or a healer. Hey, the next time you jump into a key and you look for granted at your tank and healer, what you should do is look into their soul and wonder, is this person really a tank or a healer? And the question is yes. And you don't berate them for that.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm telling you.
Anyways, imagine you treated people like humans when you're doing content.
Well, that too. That's a problem on the internet. And whenever we launch our feelings podcast, we'll talk about how the fact that people will say anything on the internet when they can hide behind.
That's true.
Their
profile picture. Yeah.
They're anyways.
Yeah, they can hide behind their blood elf, right?
Yeah, whenever they can hide, they'll say whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whenever they can shadow meld, they can do whatever they want. Anyways, dude, way too much stuff to go on to have this long-witted banter. Yeah. But I mean, let's get into it. The meat and potatoes. Perfect. Why we're here, man.
I want to start because there's a lot, right? We got the midnight reveal. There's so much information coming out. I want to start from the beginning and work our way through it all. And I want impressions, I want opinions, I want like just what you're excited about, what you're disappointed about. I will say this podcast generally is more optimistic than maybe a lot of other WoW opinions would be that you'd see online. Part of that's because Chick and I love this game, and we think the developers actually do a genuinely pretty dang good job. If they didn't do a good job at designing this game, I would just play a different game. Like, let me just say that right off the bat. I'd play a different game. I wouldn't be making a podcast about this game. I wouldn't make short videos on TikTok. I wouldn't make YouTube videos about this content. I wouldn't be live streaming it, right? Like, but genuinely, this is a fun game to play. So I want to acknowledge that ahead of the curve. So if you hear us saying positive things about it, but you're like, well, that doesn't line up with what people on Twitter say, so you guys are just shills. No, we're not shills. We actually just enjoy the game. We just like the game. It's fun. This is what we do. But there are some things that I don't think I loved, right? And I think when we talk about things I don't love with Midnight, it's less about what's happening in Midnight and more about how Midnight was midnighted.
How Midnight was midnight.
how it was like announced, right? So kind of going back, right? So first of all, I will say we're kind of spoiled, right? Because BlizzCon is an amazing forum for the announcements of Blizzard media and games, especially World of Warcraft expansions, right? So like we're used to BlizzCon where it's like right off the bat, you're finding out. You're not waiting long. And even if you are waiting a little bit, it's all hype. Like you're so excited. Gamescom was not that. Gamescom was not that. First of all, as a production guy, I was a little disappointed with like the stage setup. I know that doesn't matter, but the last BlizzCon looked way cooler. Like the last BlizzCon had a way cooler stage. I just assumed maybe a convention that was promoting multiple games would have a cooler stage than the convention that promoted one company only. You know, in my mind, but maybe not. But anyways, that's not that big of a deal. But what I didn't love is
I'm pretty sure you're the only one that noticed that.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Now people can go back and look and be like, oh, Swag is right. BlizzCon looked so sick, right? However, what did bother me a lot was, again, and maybe this was because I'm at work, right? So it's Tuesday, I'm at work, and we're told, hey, 2 o'clock. So I like take my lunch break at 2. I'm like, okay, I got an hour to sit and do this. I had gone into work a little early just to make sure I could take a whole hour for lunch instead of just like a half hour. And so I pull up my laptop, I sit back, I'm like munching a little bit. I didn't really have a lot of food because I forgot to pack and I wasn't going to go out. I needed to watch this. And so I'm like munching on some crackers or something. And it took, what was it, like an hour and a half? An hour and a half. So I think it was like 4:30, 4:45, maybe like 3:45 or something. My time, right? Which they said it would have been like all the promotional stuff was, hey, at 2 o'clock, the opening ceremony is going to begin where they're going to talk about the new expansion. 2 o'clock. Yo, I get it. I get that it's part of the opening ceremony. I get that, like, it sounds better promoted that way than to be like, hey, roughly-ish at 3:30-ish, right? But man, dude, that sucked. I hate, like, I spent my whole lunch watching. I literally just pulled the volume down and started just scrolling Twitter and stuff and complaining and posting in Discord and complaining the whole time because it was just and then like the hosts would be like, yes, we're so excited to announce a new expansion for World of Tanks, and I'm like, what? What? Like every time it'd be like, this is one of the biggest MMOs of all time. Destiny. I'm like, what the heck? Stop. It wasn't Destiny. I don't remember what one that was, but I just remember they kept saying things that like kept making me think
clickbait.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is World of Warcraft. No, that's not World of Warcraft. This is World of Warcraft. So that kind of bothered me. And then they finally get to the WoW announcement, and Holly Longdale comes out to talk about it, to promo the trailer. And I really adore Holly. I think she's wonderful. I love seeing her at BlizzCon. I think she's so nice, right? I think whenever I watch videos of her talking about WoW, you can tell she truly loves World of Warcraft. She loves what they're building. She loves what they're designing. I also think that game designers and people that work at game companies aren't always the best or strongest. I don't want to say best. Aren't always the strongest public speakers, right? And by the way, total fairness. Like, that's okay. You guys are freaking good at making the game I love. So no problem there. But I think what was the problem was I don't think Holly, and there's a reason why I'm getting into it. So just hear me the whole way through what I'm saying. Holly, I don't think presented very strongly. I think she was expecting the reaction she gets at BlizzCon. But BlizzCon is a room packed with people who love World of Warcraft, who will get hyped over anything World of Warcraft. And you could tell she got up there and was awkward, and she looked uncomfortable. Like, she looked like she was not ready for the response she got. She would make references to things, no reaction. I think the pinnacle of that was when she was like, well, you all know the Sunwell, right? No, why would they know the Sunwell? Why would people at Gamescom know the Sunwell, right?
Crickets.
Now, WoW players would be like, the freaking Sunwell, we're going back to the Sunwell, oh my goodness!
Yeah.
But we're not talking about a room full of WoW players. We're talking about a room full of people who are excited to hear about Borderlands and Battlefield and Call of Duty.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whatever else, right? Now, there were some cheers. I'm sure some people in the room knew about the Sunwell. I'm sure some people were just cheering because, they should have cheered. But you could tell there was no momentum in the room. There's no momentum. And the reason why that bothers me is I really feel like they were at Gamescom. And if there was one mission they should have had at Gamescom, it wasn't promoting Midnight to World of Warcraft players. It was promoting Midnight to gamers. And I think that's where they fell short. I think what they ended up doing is they actually made World of Warcraft look more awkward to non-WoW players, right? It made it look even more like, oh yeah, that's where the awkward people go and play games, is World of Warcraft. I love Ian Hazacostas. I also don't think he would have been the strongest like guy to send out. I don't know why they didn't send Metzen out. They should have sent Metzen out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Right? And I say that because like what you needed in that moment was somebody to walk out on stage and make everyone in that room everyone in that room go, yo, I gotta play that game. I gotta get involved in the World of Warcraft. I know about it. I've seen it. Maybe I played it 15, 16, 18 years ago. I gotta get in. This midnight thing looks epic. So there was that. Hype. Yeah, but there was no hype, right? And now the trailer. Well, you watch the trailer, right? Because then they play the trailer next, right after the announcement. How did you feel about the trailer?
I mean, it was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. I think a couple notes. I think the CGI, as always, is gorgeous. I think Blizzard's team does a phenomenal job creating those cinematics. They make the most beautiful cinematics. I think there's some controversy right now on the design of the elves, specifically Lady Liadrin. And if I'm being a totally fair critic, to some degree I get it. Like to some degree I totally understand. I think Warcraft elves have always been very like defined a certain way appearance-wise. And Lady Liadrin almost felt more like a Skyrim elf than a Warcraft elf.
Yeah.
Which again, there's nothing wrong with Skyrim elves. They're just not Warcraft elves, right? It is different.
Yeah.
And at the time, there's like a lot of controversy of like, oh well, if you dislike it, then you're just a hater, and she's beautiful anyways, and yeah, sure, she's beautiful, right? Whatever, it's a CGI woman, whatever.
That's kind of weird, but yeah, whatever you're into.
But she looked a little bit more like a WoW human with long ears and long eyebrows, right? Not necessarily a Warcraft. And I think the other thing that probably hurt was they've been going away from the glowy eyes, and that probably accentuated the problem more than anything else. Because the glowy eyes is such a WoW phenomenon. Personally, I actually lately have been really tired of the glowy eyes because I've noticed it lately where I'm like, dude, every race just has glowy eyes these days. It's weird. It's like weird. I'm like, why do Mag'har orcs have glowy eyes? Why do Worgen have glowy eyes?
Get the glowy eyes out of here.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at things. It got to the point where I'm like, I'm pretty sure Blizzard just doesn't like making eyes anymore, so they just make glowy eyes for everybody. Right?
Probably.
So part of me is like, I will say though, to the overall design, it was fascinating because a lot of people were like, "Oh, you just hate the way certain women look," which is why I don't like Lady Liadrin. Again, for me personally, I thought the cinematic was great. I didn't really care either way. It doesn't bother me that much, but I do totally understand when people are like, but it's not a Warcraft blood elf, right? If that was like the design of a human in Warcraft, I don't think anybody would have batted an eye. But I think we have to remember that elves in Warcraft aren't just humans with pointy ears. They are like an entirely different race of beings, right?
Yeah.
And so that's important. But I think what's interesting was people were like arguing about it a bunch, and then Ian himself came out. And I'm kind of paraphrasing him, and maybe I'm paraphrasing him poorly, but he basically came out and said, hey, we kind of had to do that because trying to show certain emotions with like the normal elven facial structure that WoW has is actually really hard, and we had to make the choice to like make her look a lot more human in order to get certain emotions out of her face that we wanted for this cinematic. And that totally makes sense. I get that. I'm a very logic-driven person, so like, to me, it's always like, okay, well, why was that call made? And sometimes you can just assume, like sometimes you assume, but your assumptions aren't always right. And so it's always cool hearing from somebody be like, oh, well, here was the thought process to why we made this call, why we did this thing. So I thought that was interesting. We're talking. The only reason why I even bring that up is because I think it was a hot topic on Twitter this week, and so it was just interesting to touch on it. I really liked seeing what's his name? Leader Lorthamar, I think, the leader of the Blood Elves, right?
Sure.
Yeah, Lorthamar. I was like blanking on his name for a second there. leader of the Blood Elves, seeing him in action. I always kind of forget how old he looks. I actually almost feel like they made him look a little too old-ish. And maybe I don't like him looking old, because when he looks old, it makes me sad, because he's one of my favorite leaders. And it kind of sucks when like a leader finally gets attention once they're old and not when they're younger. But
Yeah.
it is cool to see him in action. I loved Silvermoon when I first got into WoW, because again, I got into WoW at the tail end of Classic, and then a lot during Burning Crusade. And so being able to see Silvermoon, all the Blood Elf stuff, was super exciting to me. The one thing I'm still confused about, and I actually think they did a real poor job on, I think the cinematic was beautiful. Here's where I think the cinematic failed, though. It wasn't making elves look too human. It wasn't forgetting the glowy eyes. The thing I think that failed with this cinematic was that this mysterious light army shows up, and you almost don't feel anything about it because it's too vague. It's too vague. And I know they're trying to keep some secrets, I think. I think they're trying to keep some secrets, and it's supposed to be mysterious of like, well, what is this light army? Is it the army of the light that like that we know that the Lightforged Draenei are part of? Is it the like Arathi showing up? The problem is it's too human to have been the army of light that we're aware of, because we would have seen more Draenei. But when we see them attacking, they're almost using like pure light magic. It even contrasts their attacks compared to Lady Liadrin, who's using almost like a more fiery looking holy light. And we know that the Arathi for sure use more fiery holy magic. So it couldn't really have been them.
Yes.
So I'm watching. So it's hard because you're watching it and you're like, wow, who are these people that showed up? But also, they're so vague, they almost felt AI. Like it almost just felt like they were like AI'd into the background. Like it was somebody just typed in AI, make generic army of paladins in background. Which, they didn't, by the way. Let me clarify, they didn't, because I saw somebody post on Twitter the modeling that they used for these people in the cinematic, right? So like it definitely was not AI, but it just felt too generic, too unknown. And so and also why was she attacking the Silvermoon? Obviously we know it's probably the Sunwell, but like the cinematic watched on its own. Again, though, you watch the battle for Azeroth cinematic, right? And that one doesn't really explain why Undercity's under siege or anything like that. But you know that the Horde and Alliance are in conflict. I don't know. It just felt a little bit like we needed more context, right? We needed more context. And I think it was so the cinematic was emphasizing so much on Lady Liadrin's prayer to the light that we kind of missed maybe details that might have been more helpful. However, I do suspect this expansion will be very void versus light based, in which case maybe they needed to emphasize the light in the cinematic. All that to say, though, beautiful cinematic. Artwork was wonderful. The storytelling of it, I think, fell apart at the end. That's all. But overall, I watched it. I showed it to my wife. I watched it again. It was a good cinematic.
Okay. I mean, again, I don't really follow a lot of this stuff. Yeah. It's pretty lore intensive for me, man. You know me. I'm not a huge lore guy.
Yeah. Let me help you out.
The gameplay and the mechanics, and that's about it.
Let me help you out so you know what we're doing, all right? All right, we're going back.
No.
You're going back.
Oh, no.
We're going back in time. All right. So,
dude.
Just a brief, because I've already been talking too much. I was
going to say, do we even have time for this?
Yes, this will be brief. All right, so the Blood Elves, right, live in a city called Silvermoon. Prior to being called the Blood Elves, they were the High Elves. And before being High Elves, they were the Highborn, which was a faction of Night Elves. Okay, so the Blood Elves at one point historically were Night Elves, known as the Highborn. They were an elite part of their society. Some of the Highborn, not all of them, because some of the Highborn end up becoming Nightborn that are also playable. But some of the Highborn, after the Sundering, after the world was destroyed when the Well of Eternity blew up a huge magic source, speed summarizing, blows up the main continent. That's why we have like 2 continents and a bunch of islands now, or 3 or 4 continents, a bunch of islands. But anyways, it all blows up. some of the high elves take a couple vials from the Well of Eternity before it blew up. I believe they got them from Illidan, but don't quote me on that. They might not have. And they take those vials to the Eastern Kingdoms with them, and they travel the Eastern Kingdoms up to the north, where they find an area where a bunch of ley lines intersect, right? Because the ley lines in Warcraft, where they intersect, are like high mana intensive, high arcane areas. And so they decide to take those vials of magical Well of Eternity water and create the Sunwell right where the ley lines intersect. So it's this like highly potent, super powerful magical well that they now have access to, or puddle thing, or whatever the heck it is.
Puddle thing,
right?
Oh
and it's called the Sunwell. And so they live around this Sunwell and build their city and their home around it. Over time, their skin becomes paler. They shorter, a little more dainty looking ish. And they spend more time out in the day because night elves are generally nocturnal. So no longer nocturnal. Now they're kind of pale. They're no longer like purpley, right? Some have a good tan though. Some have a good tan, and they are addicted to the Sunwell. Okay, so the man addicted. Now every story in Warcraft at some point goes back to the Lich King. Every story. So Arthas, in the process of becoming a Lich King, he's not the Lich King yet. But he is controlled by the Lich King, and he does wield Frostmourne at this time. He wants to resurrect a Lich, or not a Lich. He wants to resurrect a Necromancer named Kel'Thuzad. You remember Kel'Thuzad, right? We killed him in...
Nope.
In Shadowlands, we went back and killed him again for like the 7th time. He was the boss right before Sylvanas in...
right. Yeah.
Sanctum of Domination, right? So...
Yep.
He died, and Arthas wanted to resurrect him, but he needed a lot of power. I don't know why, because Arthas is actually a really powerful Death Knight.
He's a pretty powerful dude, right?
Yeah, right, because he turns Sylvanas into a freaking Banshee. I don't know. I don't understand it completely. He raises Death Knights. Whatever. For some reason, though, there's probably a lore reason to it that I just don't know. Kel'Thuzad was special, and so Arthas takes an army of the undead, and they march to Silvermoon City. On their way to Silvermoon City, that's where he kills Sylvanas, because she's the Ranger General, trying to protect Silvermoon from destruction, right? If you were to go to Silvermoon City now and Eversong Woods around Silvermoon City, you'll see this giant like scar in the land, this just dead spot in the land. That's where Arthas' army marched through. It's called the Dead Scar. Anyways, and he marches right through Silvermoon City, absolutely decimates the city, just goes right through the middle of the city, marching along. And then he gets to the Sunwell, which is past the city, I think on like a little island or something. And he gets to the Sunwell, he throws Kel'Thuzad's remains in there, resurrects him into the powerful Lich that we know him as, and the Sunwell is corrupted. Now, the Blood Elves no longer have their fountain of magic power. They're super mana addicted. They start falling apart because they literally can't live without this mana anymore. Like, they're crack addicts, dude. Freaking crack addicts for this stuff. It's insane, dude. They got that fentanyl lean going hard, right?
Oh,
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
Goodness.
Dude, you should have done the Blood Elf starting zone quest. You would have seen it yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So anyways, Illidan, though, basically kidnaps a Naru, sends the Naru to the Blood Elves, and is like, hey, use this as your power source. And they torture the Naru and stuff. Over time, the Sunwell is about to be used as a portal to summon Kil'jaeden through, general for Sargeras, right? So the Fel is coming through. The Blood Elves are corrupted by the Fel, and they're trying to summon in Kil'jaeden to come take over Azeroth. We stop them from doing that. We fight Kil'jaeden in the portal, and we push him back through the portal. And then the Naru sacrifices their life to save the Sunwell and convert it to like a holy power source, right? So now the Blood Elves have their power source back, that they can no longer deal with their mana addiction, but now it's powered by like holy magic, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit, during I think the quest to unlock the Void Elves or something. At some point around then, Illyria goes back to the Sunwell to visit it because she's like, this is an important, almost religious experience for me as a high elf. I have to go visit. Also, they were called high elves for a little bit. But when she shows up, because she's so imbued with like void energy, the Sunwell actually starts turning into like a portal, summoning in void creatures into the room, and she gets kicked out. Because the Naru is the one who revitalized the Sunwell, Naru can become void creatures when their essences is drained. They like flip back and forth, kind of like the Crystal and Hollowfall does. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Yeah, how the Crystal and Hollowfall turns purple sometimes. Dude,
Yeah,
you had to do it for the leveling quest. And how? What?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think so.
Okay, good. Naru do
Yeah,
that.
I'll follow that
They'll
kind of
flip. They'll
stuff.
flip and go voidy, right?
Dude.
So all that to say, we suspect at this point that all I'm trying to say is the story is most likely that, well, because we saw the Sunwell, that's the well that Lady Legion was praying over. The Blood Elves are trying to protect the Sunwell from Xal'atath getting to the Sunwell. So Xal'atath wants the Sunwell. I don't know if it's to summon Void in. I don't know if it's to turn it and corrupt it into a Void power source.
Yeah.
But for some reason, she wants that Sunwell real bad. She's trying to take it.
Sauce.
And it's one of the reasons why Silvermoon is now going to be a capital city, like the hub city for this expansion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sauce, right?
Yeah, and which is interesting because it's the first time we're getting like a Horde city as a neutral hub. However, there will be spaces in the city that are still Horde exclusive.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's good, right?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So that's the lore behind that video.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and the guy in the video who was like, "No, don't go," and then she went. The guy is Lorthamar. He is the leader of the Blood Elves. Nice dude, pretty chill dude. Everybody likes him.
I mean, he sounds like he's a nice dude.
Yeah. Better than Kael'thas, their previous leader, who got corrupted by the Fel and went crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enough lore. I'm done talking about lore. We're done.
We just I had to make sure you understood the video though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah. Okay.
You ready for gameplay stuff now? Now that we've talked about all that.
I mean, I feel like we have to talk about gameplay. That's what the people came for, right?
So
maybe no. Actually, that's not true. I feel like some people do like the lore, so maybe it's good that we went through it.
So because we were just talking about the lore stuff, we might as well start here with the gameplay. The new zones that we're getting, right? So Eversong Woods.
Sure.
Right. That we had talked about, the place with the dead scar, right? That's now like healed over. We're getting a whole new.
Okay.
Because you can go there right now in game. You can go there. It's already a zone in the game, but they're redesigning it, and they're making it like huge. Like the scale is different, right? Like people are comparing screenshots of what we see now versus like what it looks like. For example, you have the Windrunner spires, right, or Windrunner towers, or whatever they're called, which is going to be a dungeon, I believe, in the expansion. Okay. And currently, those spires exist right now, but they're like little dinky little spires on this small hill with like a little arch leading up to it. And then you look at it now, and it's like this huge, like almost like a little castle thing or something. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool seeing how much WoW has changed from then to now, where you had to kind of use your imagination before and be like, yeah, this is a big important spot, but it's like doesn't look that big or important in the game. Or wow, this is a big town, it's important, but then there's like 3 houses on the corner and that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right.
Right. So it's cool now seeing like the scale and how they like build things and the detail that exists in the game. But I'm excited. We got 4 new zones. They look great. One of which is like the Harrenir home world zone place thing. We're not totally sure. There's a lot of mystery around what it is. Might be related to the Emerald Dream. It might be related to the World Trees. Potentially the original World Trees roots maybe lead to it. We're not 100% sure, but for whatever it is, we're getting the Harrenir. We're getting Zulaman, which is a zone we've had before. Not a whole lot was there. It's mostly just for like the sake of a raid, but it's getting revitalized. So I'm low-key excited. It's been a while since we've had like a good troll zone. And then the Void something. I don't remember what it's called. If you remember what it's called. But I can't remember what it's called right now. I was hoping I could Google it and figure out what it's called. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Anyways, a big voidy zone, which is going to be, I think, really fun.
I was like, I sure as heck don't know what it's called.
Oh my gosh. But those are the 4 zones we're getting. I'm excited, though, that they're revitalizing old zones. And when I say revitalize, I mean like literally from the ground up, building them. Because I do think it's weird where every expansion, it's like, hey, look, we found more islands.
Yeah.
Like, we have all these cool zones. Like, we have these amazing spaces. Why not just remake them for the modern era?
It's too easy, that's why.
Yeah, but there's so much more story that can be told when you feel familiar with the space.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Like, I 100% agree with you, dude. Like, we should just redo those.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why people don't. Like, I mean, I've never been to Silver Moon, and, like, that area is kind of unfamiliar to me, so it's kind of neat to be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Void Storm is what it's called.
okay, cool.
Yeah. Which, by the way, though...
Void Storm, Silver Moon.
By the way, the Silver Moon thing's controversial. Dude, people are...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a lot of people are not happy that what is a horde city will allow alliance players into it, right? Because I think to a lot of players it feels like they're losing.
Yeah.
It feels like they're losing an important city, and it's just being given to the alliance. Which
I mean, yeah.
Which here's my opinion: only 2/3 of the city will be accessible by alliance players. 1/3 of the city will be inaccessible by alliance players. Now, the wording they used was "kill on sight." So I don't know if it's going to be like how Dalaran was, where if you go into the wrong section, you just get teleported out. Or if like literally you walk into the wrong section and you just get beat to death. I'm hoping it's the latter, but the former would probably be more convenient.
Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Probably more player friendly as well.
Probably more player friendly. I like that. I would actually be okay with like 50% of the city being horde only. Here's my thing. Like, I'm not sitting around exploring cities. It's just not my thing. I do love good world building. I really love good world building.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and I think something that needs to occur with good world building is setting limits and boundaries, right? And creating tensions. You want to create tensions. And as an alliance player going into a city where I'm not welcome in the whole city creates a really good tension. I really like it. But at the same time, as a horde player, right? Like, and if I want to see the whole city, I can just go hop on the horde character. Like, who cares? Like, let me just go hop on the horde character, visit the city, look around, and then go back to my my Draenei or whatever. However, you know, as a horde player too, though, there is something really exciting. I think, again, world building wise, of like, okay, this world ending thing is here. I have to like open up my home to these extra like soldiers that I don't like working with. I don't want them here, but we have no other choice, right? To me, that's pretty cool. But I have heard like players get upset. They're like, you're taking away city that we have. Here's the problem I have with that. One, it's still a horde city. It just has like limited space, which, by the way, you're literally the hub city is going to be cooler for you. Like, you're right. Like, you're getting a better hub city this expansion than we're getting. Yeah. Two, I don't buy it. I literally, anytime somebody gets upset, I don't buy it. I don't believe them. I think they're just upset because they want to be upset. But I do go to Silver Moon sometimes. I think Silver Moon's actually a cool city, and I'll go there sometimes. Look around. No one is ever there. That city is so dead, dude. So dead. You can walk through that whole city and not see another player. It's dead. It's a ghost town. So, like, to me,
that's kind of nuts.
To me, the idea of being angry over like a place you don't even want to be is weird. And by the way, though, like, when this comes out, this is probably gonna be the most beautiful hub city we've had in any expansion. Like, I love Silver Moon. Silver Moon's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But as it is right now, it's super inconvenient to get to. You can't fly when you're there. There's no portals to go anywhere else. So if you want to like go somewhere, you gotta go back to the Undercity, and then from the Undercity, you have to then go to Orgrimmar, and then at Orgrimmar, you can go wherever you want, right? So like, it's just so inconvenient, so out of the way. They're making the city more beautiful. They're adding more to the city, making more little stories to tell and things to happen. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's cool. I think it's an awesome idea. I think Blizzard should do more things that create tension between Alliance and Horde players that aren't just like, wow, look, this Horde character did a tragic, horrendous thing like burning down your tree. Right, like that to me feels so forced. I like the tensions that exist where it's just like, ew, we have to let alliance players into our city, or what do you mean I
Yeah,
don't
that's
have
pretty
full
fair.
access? Like, what do you mean I don't have full access to the city? The Horde won't let me walk here. Why is that? Do they
Yeah.
not trust me? Like those tensions, I love those tensions. I want more of that. I want more storytelling that's just simple. It doesn't have to be like, yo, we found Azurite and now everybody wants Azurite because they can make bombs with it. I want to be like,
hmm
yo, we need trees because we have no wood to build houses. And the night elves think these trees are sacred, so they don't want us to touch them, but we're gonna take them anyways. Like that's what I want, right?
Yeah.
Like I want the raw. I want like raw tension. I don't want like forced tension. I want like, yo, like we have this absolute need and we gotta do something that we don't love doing, but we gotta do it, and people are gonna be angry, but whatever, right? Like, anyways, makes me happy. As somebody, as one of the few players left who still highly values the Horde Alliance tension, I'm happy to see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I've always known WoW to be a game that doesn't really have that tension.
That's true. That's
I
true.
mean, since I've started playing WoW, Horde and Alliance is basically just like, oh, we're best friends, basically.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
when you think of
so,
Horde, right, you think of the dudes who stand with you in Dornegal and you run keys with them, right? And
yeah,
they're in your guild, right?
To me, they're really not like.
Dude, my introduction.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, my introduction to the conflict, because I started on Horde. I remember I had this neighbor named Charlie who introduced me to WoW. And so Charlie and I were leveling together, and we're going through, I think like Silver Pine Forest or something. And all of a sudden, Charlie, it was some neutral zone. Maybe it wasn't Silver Pine, but it was like a neutral zone. And we had war mode on or something. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe we had PvP flagged. I don't remember what the reason was. But Charlie just goes like, dude, you gotta hide. I'm like, what are you yelling about? He's like, hide. And so I like run and like sit in a bush or something. And he's like, oh, dude. He's like, and like we just watched his like alliance player like ride by on the mount, which back then mounts were hard to get. And he's like, yo, that dude could have just killed us in a second. I'm like, what? There's an NPC that strong? Like there's an NPC that strong that just rides around killing people? And he's like, no. That's an alliance player, and you got to watch out. They're dangerous, right? Like that, like, bro, that was my introduction, right? Like my introduction was like, yo, if I meet this person out in the wild, it's on sight, right? Like they're going down, or I'm running.
Shank me,
right? Either I'm dying or they're dying. Somebody's dying.
Yeah, right? Someone's dying, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get shanked in the woods.
Yeah, the closest I've gotten to that feeling was. The launch of the War Within, where they let us get 3 days early access. So of course I got my 3 days early access. I go into the game, I level up to max level in those 3 days. Then I let everybody else log on to the game, and I start killing everybody in war mode at the little dollar and crash site.
Oh my gosh,
dude, we had a group of like 5 of us, bro. We had like 5 of us in a party. And we were just spawn camping everybody in the area. It was so bad.
Dude,
but I was
you're
laughing.
Toxic, bro.
Oh, dude, it was mega toxic. It was mega toxic, but like, I couldn't help it. It was good. It was good. Friendship building in the guild, I think.
Oh my gosh, that's the most toxic thing I've ever heard, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's why you gotta get your 3 days early access, right?
Yeah, right. Honestly.
All right. I've been talking a ton. I've been talking so much. Chicken, I want to know, dude, what has you hyped? What has you hyped in this
I think the things that are so here's just my quick comment. I think you watched it, right? Like you watched all of this.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, I watched it.
And I think the majority of people probably didn't watch it. Like me, because I just can't commit like that kind of time.
Oh, dude, I think you're misunderstanding.
You know what I mean?
I think you're misunderstanding. The live stream thing was literally just like, wow, we have a new expansion coming out. Watch the trailer.
Really?
That was it, bro. No, I don't think you realize how bad communication has been on this expansion. It is.
Then why is like everything being released in like articles like? Not at the same time.
Yeah, you want to?
Like, I thought it was supposed to be like a couple days event.
It is. It's a few days event, right? And what's happening is you have these like people going to the panels, and the panels aren't being live streamed.
Sure.
And so in these panels, people are announcing things, they're explaining stuff, and we're literally just getting phone pictures. We're just getting phone pictures of like artwork and design things and announcements and stuff. And then you go on like and see like Mr. GM or something posting on Twitter like, "Oh, look what they just announced." That's how we're getting our information. This is like, dude, we need BlizzCon back. Like, this has been the worst. And also, I think Blizzard fired their whole social media team pretty much. Like, dude, this is the worst. This is the worst expansion announcement I've ever seen.
Seems pretty bad.
Like, dude, we had freaking COVID going on, and Shadowlands was announced better than this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Dude, I've had to dig hard for information.
Maybe I'll take it back a little bit and not call you a nerd, because that's what I'm getting at.
No, I don't think you realize how much. No. Dude, it was worse. Because like the live stream I could justify, because I'm like, oh, I just had it on the background while I was wrapping cables at work. That I can justify.
Sure.
All this other info has been me like hard stalking Twitter, or I mean X, the everything app.
Yeah. Well, good thing, because I was ready to like nerd you out and like like kind of roast you a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate, but I mean, I think the big like hitters for me, and I'm gonna get rid of one, because to me it's already I feel like we got some notes of player housing and we got some cool things, but it was like, oh, okay, like this is a cool look at it. I mean, we got some cool information. To me, I don't think there was anything major, and to me, I don't think there was anything major that was like, oh, player housing, you're gonna be able to have like a thing inside your player house that makes a million gold every second. Like nothing like, whoa, like that's crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
okay. Here's my thought on that. Sorry, I have so many thoughts. This is the last thing I'm going to say about the announcement stuff, because I've been trashing how bad their announcements and communication has been. I've been trashing. I think, and I might make a YouTube video on this this weekend actually. I'm gonna
hold you to that, bro.
I think the worst mistake Blizzard made with Midnight, and I do think they made a few. I think they made a few with the announcements and everything. I think the worst mistake they made is they announced player housing way too early. And so we've had the last year, dude. We've had the last year of just marinating in player housing information.
Honestly, yeah,
and
that's probably pretty fair.
And so what happens is Midnight gets announced, and the biggest, coolest, craziest, wildest part of the expansion, the thing that is like the most exciting new change to this expansion that should have everybody so hyped, was news a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. And don't get me wrong, like they had the new Demon Hunter spec, which is cool, but we kind of all predicted that was going to happen.
Oh yeah,
dude, we were talking about that on the podcast months ago. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay. That right? They talked about allied race, the Harroneer. But the Harroneer felt like they were supposed to be an allied race back in Midnight, and everybody, or back in the War Within, and even in the War Within, like the information we had about them and all the detail to their models and stuff that we had was so extensive that there was no way they weren't going to be an allied race. But then they like barely showed up. So my suspicion is that it was supposed to be an allied race in the War Within, and then they changed timelines when the Midnight story shifted, right?
Yeah.
So I actually think that's why that, because I still don't get why we would get one allied race for an expansion. You should get multiple, because they don't take as much work as a normal race. That's a whole different conversation. But all that to say, I do think the problem with Midnight's announcement was like, it wasn't this, and I know that they wanted to announce the whole trilogy at once, but all these details like player housing, and the Demon Hunter stuff, and the Harroneer, right? Like it just felt like it was all too predictable and known. There's nothing that like surprised. And the things that did, we knew we'd probably go back to Silverman, which is fine. Who cares? We kind of predicted that, but that would have been okay if that was the only prediction. But like, the only new things we got was like new talent trees, but we don't know if people are actually excited for that or not excited for that. We have 3 raids, but it's really one raid, but now spread over 3 locations.
Split into 3.
Right? Yeah. Which is fine, by the way. I think my prediction is that they were able to do that because the race to world first has now shifted to requiring every boss killed rather than just killing the last boss. And Cutting Edge requires that, and like Hall of Fame now requires that because of Gallywix.
Yeah.
Because people were just skipping the Gallywix, and so they actually had to like innovate that. And I do wonder if Gallywix allowed them to step back and be like, "Yo, what if we just had 3 different raids and then just combined all the bosses?" And so, I think that's
kind of neat.
I think we're gonna see a Race to World First next expansion, where you have 3 raids, but maybe you unlock them in a certain order. Like you still have to progress them in a certain order, or you just have to kill all the bosses in whatever order you want. But all the bosses have to go down for Race to World First.
Yeah.
Well, all that to say.
Yes.
Sorry, you started to talk and I interrupted you. I'm sorry. All that to say, though, I think
that's okay.
I think the problem is Midnight has a lot of really cool stuff, and it actually genuinely looks like it's going to be an awesome expansion, and I'm super hyped about it. But there was nothing that was announced where I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool that this is coming to WoW." Maybe the transmog change. That's the problem.
But that's not even
the craziest thing is the transmog change, right? It's not even that big of a deal.
It's like, we don't have to pay gold for transmog anymore. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you still do, but not as much. It's like a whole thing. But yeah.
Okay, well, not like 100 times or 100 gold every time.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting punished every time you win a piece of loot, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Wow, now I can go into my pajamas automatically when I walk into my player housing.
Which is kind of cool. Like,
it is cool.
I think that's a neat concept.
It is cool, but like not to be the most surprising part of like an announcement, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. I mean,
or that we got not Valyria. What's her name? Sanguinar. Varisa? No, it is Valyria, right? Oh, Valyra, right? Yeah, Valyra Sanguinar. So I get her and Sylvanas' sister confused a lot. Anyways, but Valyra is going to be the new Delve companion instead of Bran, which will be cool because I think she's a character people have asked to come back a bunch. Originally showed up in some stories and then ended up becoming like a much more canon character. I know you don't care about lore, so I'm not going to go into it, but she was alongside Varian Rin and Brawl Bearmantle as they were gladiators for the orcs. But that's a whole different thing. But it'll be cool having her come back. It's cool having like a very elf-centric expansion. Especially it feels like more blood elf-centric than anything else, right? Because we're saying elf-centric, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of night elf stuff. Blood elf stuff, maybe we'll see some Nightborn stuff. But we haven't really gotten a whole lot of blood elf content recently. We have gotten plenty of night elf stuff, like with the Emerald Dream and half of Shadowlands. So I don't know if we need more there, but it'll be nice seeing some blood elf things happening.
I agree. Good old elves.
Good old elves. Rumor has it that Sylvanas might be returning. We talked about that a little bit. We talked about that a little bit on the podcast before, but some confirmation from Blizzard that she will be returning at some point. Probably
which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, I think if there's any time to return Sylvanas, it's while Silvermoon is under attack. And some people are like, well, that's not truly her character arc. You can't just go back to the start and call it a character arc. Yes, but also it's a good redemptive play, right? Like if there's one place to redeem her, it's redeeming her in the place where she originally fell.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's one other thing out of the reveal. That, and I don't even know if it was out of the reveal. I just found an article on Wowhead about it. And no. What I think it was at the reveal. They talked about trying to make the new player experience a lot better and trying to like incorporate like story mode raids into the new player experience, which is kind of cool. I think that's a great concept. I think it confirms that someone from Blizzard listens to the podcast. So you can just reach out to us. You don't have to hide yourself anymore. Just reach out to us.
I do think it's interesting that Dragonflight is going to remain the one that they emphasize for the leveling experience.
Do I think it's interesting?
I think it's
because
interesting.
I think
What?
I think Dragonflight is one of the best experience.
Yeah, I think it's a better leveling experience maybe than the War Within, because the War Within is so specific. But at the same time, the War Within is also like more relative to the story at hand and the story that will be in the expansion following. But also, it wasn't, right? Like, the leveling story of the War Within wasn't that crazy regarding, like, I don't know. I guess it goes back to the whole thing of, like, you could skip the War Within and we'd still be at the same spot we were before. Xal'atath has the Dark Heart, and she's powerful because of it, right? Like, we're back, we're back where we started. And you could be like, well, the Dark Heart's more powerful now. And it's like, yeah, but we didn't know how powerful it was before. Like, we had no clue. So you could have just said it was this powerful all along, and we would have believed it. We would have been like, oh, well, yeah, of course, that sounds about right.
That's true.
Yeah, and Dragonflight also has dragon riding, like, training.
Yeah.
Which is probably a big deal. It also gives you a dragon mount right off the bat, so it probably feels better for new players. So that's nice. And I just like all the streamlined stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, overall, I think what they didn't really like give a whole lot of details about the new player experience and what their plan is. They kind of just noted that they're going to try to throw in these, story mode raids and that kind of stuff.
Oh, so there's some info on that.
Yeah, not like as much as I would have liked to have though, to be honest.
So basically, what they're doing is not Forbidden Reach,
Exile's Reach.
Exile's Reach.
Yeah,
Exile's Reach is going to include some more well-known characters now instead of just the random people. And by well-known characters, I suspect it's literally just Thrall or Jaina. That's my guess. My guess is you get Thrall or Jaina probably. Which, hey, dude, an introduction to Thrall or Jaina probably nice, probably beneficial. However, you complete that, and I think the ending of Exile's Reach is going to take you directly to the Dragon Isle. So you're not like coming out of Exile's Reach, going to your faction capital, and then trying to figure out what to do next. I think that gets confusing for players. I think for some reason, maybe dragons are going to show up to Exile's Reach and be like, oh, thank you for helping us stop the resurrection of this dragon. We're going to need your help now on the Dragon Isles.
Come this way, nerd.
Right. Something like that. Maybe they'll even change up the ending of Exile's Reach to make it more in line. Maybe make it more similar to the Dragon Isles. I mean,
that'd be kind of cool.
Right. So you'll get kind of whisked away that way. So you're starting to meet characters, and then you go through. I don't know if the level is to be faster or not, but you are going to go through to level 70, I think, or 60 or whatever, level 60, 70, whatever it is. And then and then you're going to get to do the last 10 levels in the War Within. But the War Within campaign, they said, is like streamlined, and I guess they're streamlining in a way that emphasizes major plot points. And when they did that, they showed some stuff that was like level cap plot points too, right? Like the Battle of Arathi that we saw, which again was a stupid plot point. Like why is that the one that they're marketing for us to like make sure we don't miss it? Like that one was so out of left field, weird. Unnecessary. Maybe they have that to show the tension between the Horde and Alliance, but it wasn't even real tension between the Horde and Alliance. It just felt like a weird attempt at like conveying modern day issues or something in World of Warcraft. Which is whatevs. But what they did say though too was, and this is where I'm curious. What they did say too was at some point in the War Within stuff that they're like, and part of the new player experience is Lore Walker Cho can catch you up on like major lore beats, right? And that one's interesting to me because the way they're wording it sounds like it might be optional, and if it's optional, then no one's gonna do it. Right? Like no, it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, you can, but he's over here, and you have to find him. You have to understand how that works. Okay. I don't know if that's gonna be effective. Now, if they go, hey, yeah, Lore Walker Cho is gonna catch you up, like literally the last 2 levels that you do once you get to max level is Lore Walker Cho explaining who Xal'atath is, who the Lich King is, etc. Okay, that makes some sense. Why the Sunwell is the Sunwell, right? That would be cool, right? If it was like, oh, hey, here's 3 things you need to know before going into midnight. What is the Sunwell? Who is Xal'atath? What is right? Like, and I don't know what the third would be, right? Like, whatever, right? Because the Sunwell, you could do the Blood Elf history. the elves in general, really. Xalatath, you can kind of explain the void. Maybe the Lich King. I know they have the Lich King right now in there already, right? And the Lich King always plays a part in everything. So I think, like, I don't know. I think that they have a lot of potential doing this. Do I think it's the best answer? No, absolutely, this is not the best answer. But it's an answer. It's an answer, and it's a lot less work than the answer I would pick. So that's good. So we'll see. My only thing, though, is if the lore walking thing is just like, hey, here's a little bonus thing you can do, that won't be effective. I think the lore walking actually has to be a part of the leveling process.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. What else was announced with Midnight?
I mean, I think that was like the majority things.
Yeah.
I don't think there was like anything other crazy, like, you know.
Oh yeah,
anything crazy.
Haranir looked great, by the way. We didn't really talk about them.
Yeah.
Haranir looked awesome. I have no complaints there. I'm definitely playing one, by the way. 100% playing one. They look like they're gonna be great for healers. On top of that, and I just posted a TikTok about this right before we started recording. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty hard convinced. I'm very convinced we're getting Amani trolls as a playable race eventually.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason being for that is they redid the Amani troll models, which makes sense for a new expansion. However, they're not using the female troll model for the Amani trolls. They're using the orc female model for the Amani troll females. And that, to me, is a very intentional choice that they've made. And it says that they want the female trolls to be set apart. But if it was just for the play, like as NPCs, they wouldn't do that. If it was just for NPCs, they would not do that. Because they'd be like, well, who cares? They look like female trolls. They're female trolls. Unless they're saying, hey, we want to add another race of trolls, but we need this race of trolls to feel unique for the people playing. And both current existing playable troll races, the females use the normal female troll skeleton. So we can't use the normal female troll skeleton again. Because the Zandalari male trolls use the male night elf skeleton, but the female troll skeleton. So I would not be surprised. In fact, I would actually be surprised if we didn't get them as a playable race. I am like 95% convinced. The question is, will it be like the Haranir, where we have to wait a whole extra expansion? Or are we going to see this occur later into Midnight? And I suspect it's going to be later into Midnight.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I mean, I don't know. Again, cool. Trolls, I guess.
Cool. We got trolls. I'm happy to have more troll content, dude. It's been a while since we've had good troll content. So...
yeah, you know, I just like to go in and press buttons. That's my thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. All right, we got some questions from the listeners. Some good questions. And we have a lot of questions this week. I don't know if we can get through all of them. We're going to get through what we can get through. We
definitely will not.
We're going to get through what we can get through, and then we'll get through the rest. If you want to send your questions in, you go to our Discord. There's a link down in the description. And ask your questions in the Pod Questions channel, right? It used to be called Questions for the Pod, but that was too long. I think I shortened it to Pod Questions. Yeah. Pod Questions channel. So. My brain farted for a second there. However, if you want your questions to be prioritized, well, let me tell you about our Patreon, which you can find a link to in the description as well. Our Patreon allows us to do what we are doing right now. It literally pays the bills for making sure that this podcast can get posted every single week. It covers upload charges and hosting charges and all those other things. And we are so thankful for you guys supporting our content and allowing us to continually improve it and getting equipment or building opportunities to improve it. So for everyone who is subscribed on Patreon, thank you so much. Our Patreon subscribers often get to listen to these recordings live in Discord. They get weekly content updates and obviously a private channel in Discord to hang out and chat and talk with us as well. It's awesome, but we're just thankful that we have the support. If you want to support us on Patreon, we would really appreciate that. And we prioritize questions coming in from Patreon listeners. However, just a reminder, if you are a Patreon listener, if you're subscribed on Patreon, make sure your Discord is linked to Patreon so that we see the little symbol next to your name while we're pulling questions, so that we know which questions are from Patreon listeners or whatnot. A little housekeeping right there. with that said, we got some awesome listener questions. First question coming in from, listen, we're not supposed to have favorites, but this is one of my favorites, okay? I love Wargramps. Wargramps is fantastic, okay? One of my favorites in the Discord. So we're not supposed to have favorites, but if I had favorites, he would be one of them.
We're not supposed to, but he is.
Yeah. All right, he says, so I know they took away slapping hands from DKs, and yes, I miss on mine, but now they have given us blinding sleep, which says targets in a cone in front of you are blinded, causing them to wander disoriented for 5 seconds. Damage may cancel the effect when blinding sleep ends. Enemies are slowed by 50% for 6 seconds. It seems like a PvP spell, not something that can be used in a dungeon raid, etc. In what situations would you use this or have used this spell in a PvE scenario? Chicken, I know you probably want to answer this. I've been itching to answer this question all week ever since Wargramps asked it. I'm taking this one. You can have the next one, whatever it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wargramps, get ready to have your mind blown. I'm excited for this question because one of my favorite things is to help people understand the game that I love. Because I'm always learning things. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that worked that way. Blinding Sleet is actually an awesome ability. Blinding Sleet is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. You may have not noticed it before. Blinding Sleet's been around for quite a while. It's been a long-term ability. And when you read this description, it's very easy for abilities like this to read the description and be like, oh, in my mind, I know how this works. Because you read it and you go, oh, I want my target to be disoriented for the full 5 seconds. This attack is wasted if I don't disorient them for the full 5 seconds. However, I got a Windows security virus threat protection defender summary.
No.
Thank you. However, Wargramps, this ability is at its best when you're not worried about actually keeping your enemies disoriented. So in World of Warcraft, you have what are called interrupts, where somebody's casting something and you hit your interrupt on them and it interrupts them, and then they can no longer cast that spell for another 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I don't even know how long it is, right? But they can't cast it for a little bit until they can recast it. You also have things that are called stops. Those are abilities that stop a cast. They don't interrupt it. They just simply stop the cast, and then the NPC will start casting immediately again. It's not as powerful as an interrupt, but oftentimes stops are more AoE, right, than interrupts are. And so you can maybe, if a whole group is doing something, a good example would be on the trash pack before the final boss, or before the third boss of Floodgate, right? That trash pack that has a bunch of those guys trying to cast those heals, the hots on themselves. You might see those heals going off and be like, I don't have any more interrupts. My interrupt is on cooldown. What do I do? In that moment, you can cast Blinding Sleep. What's going to happen is you're going to disorient them for just a moment, because as soon as they take any damage, that disorientation is gone. But you'll disorient them for the briefest moment. But that briefest moment will force them to stop casting and have to restart their cast. So especially if you can time it well, where you hit it towards the end of a cast rather than the start of a cast, all that cast time that they built up to cast it is now wasted, and they have to start from the beginning again. Another great example of this would be the knock-up, I think it's Thunderstorm or something that shamans have. That's another great example. Where you will also find yourself using this a ton is the weekly affix that summons those orbs that have to be interrupted, right? 10 orbs fall and they have to be interrupted, or their cast has to be stopped. You can literally just Blinding Sleet all of them and knock them out, and your team will love you. So the description leads you to think it has to be used one way, but you can be a little creative and actually maximize it by using it in a way that it doesn't look like it's intended to be used.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yep. Sorry, I was excited for that one because I knew you would be hyped about the answer. Well, because I just I know when Wargramps hears that, he's going to be like, oh, that's awesome. I love this ability. So I was excited because it's fun when you get to give an answer that gets somebody excited, you know?
That's okay, dude. You're missing DK. I know you are, brother.
I do miss DK. But give me my slappy hands back, or I'm shutting down the DK Discord.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right. You want to read the next question coming in from XX Luke XX?
Sure.
I don't think you're supposed to read the X's.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay. Luke, your question. Hey guys, with Midnight now available for pre-order, what's your opinion on the rewards you get for purchase? In the past, Blizzard has done this with all their games. When you pre-order, you get the same bonuses as you would if you bought the game after release. What's the benefit of pre-ordering other than the 3-day head start? Do you think we should receive exclusive rewards for pre-ordering? Maybe I missed something and there's more exclusives, but from what I've seen, that is not the case. Thanks, guys. I think the pre-order exclusive, I mean, the biggest one for this one is player housing, right?
Yes, you do get early access to player housing.
Yeah, you get, and
much
that's
more than
across
3
the
days.
board.
Yeah,
that doesn't matter
which
which one. What'd you say?
Much more than 3 days, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be.
You get the 3-day head
like,
start to the actual content, but the player housing is probably gonna be like a month.
Yeah, you'll probably get access to player housing. I would gamble 2 months ahead of the actual release. That's a gamble. I'm gonna say, okay. Let me go back. I'm gonna say at least a month.
Yeah, that feels about right. Which in the past is more time. Usually it's like 2 weeks. But player housing gives me the impression they want us to be in player housing as fast as they can.
Yeah. Oh, dude, 100%.
And it's also
100%.
not reliant. It's not reliant on the new zones, right? Because it's outside Orgrimmar and Stormwind.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that is your pre-order bonus, is getting access to Midnight. I would, like I said, this is just a guess. Probably a month before the actual expansion comes out. So if you want access to it, I mean, you're more than welcome to. But I do understand the question. It is kind of, you think of all these other games that come out, like Call of Duty, all that kind of stuff. I know Call of Duty is not Blizzard, but it's Activision, so kind of, not hand in hand, but you know what I mean. So, I do kind of understand, but at the same time, it really, when I think of like bonus content for WoW, it would probably be like a transmog or something. So I guess I'm not like super concerned about not getting any extra exclusives for pre-ordering other than player housing, right? Or the 3-day head start if you pre-order the highest model. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things that we kind of just got to live with.
I think too. It's tough because part of you is like, oh, I want like more for pre-ordering. Like I want to have an item that no one else can ever get ever again because they didn't pre-order it.
Yeah,
that is tough.
Yeah.
WoW players don't always love that, right? Like even the if you subscribe for a whole year, you get this mount. Even those end up on the mount store eventually or something, or wherever they end up. So players don't love knowing that something's coming to the game paid that will never come back unless it's like the Brutosaur, which everybody's pretty sure will still come back. What I will say though is that it's not just so you get, and this is why I'm okay with it. This is why ultimately I'm okay with it. We are getting the 3 days early access, which is new as of this past expansion. So that's not a great example because previously we didn't have it. However, we are getting early access to player housing, which is the same as when the Evokers came out. We got early access to them. I believe we got early access to Demon Hunters when they came out. Right. So that's pretty normal. I'm trying to remember if there's anything we had like early access to for
The War Within.
The War Within. But usually that's
I don't
one.
think we did.
The other thing too to keep in mind is the bonuses all come with cool cosmetics and things. People really like having those cool cosmetics right when they come out. Right, the cool mounts, the cool transmogs, the extra trader attendees, right? You get all of that. Yeah. You get all of that now, right? So you don't have to wait.
Yeah, people get hyped.
Yeah, you don't have you get that now, like half a year to a year before the expansion releases. So there is still some hype there. It's not like here's an exclusive item you can never get, but it does give you access to some things more than just the 3-day early access.
Yeah, it's hype. It definitely is hype.
All right, Bacon Wings has the next question. He says, I won't be offended if this isn't answered. Okay, sounds good. So we'll move on to the next question then.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding. He says, I actually think it's pretty dumb, and I don't know if it would really help anyone. Would effectively penalize the people that push hard in the beginning of the season and reward those who are slower, which makes no sense. Race the world first wouldn't be as glorious. Burnout would probably be worse due to people getting. Did we not copy the whole question?
No, that's it. Oh, wait.
I feel like
I'm
no,
pretty
no, no,
sure
no,
that.
no. I think he was linking back to another question.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So now I have to go find the original because I do think we forgot to answer his original question, and I felt bad.
Oh no, we did answer it.
We did answer it
because I double checked. Yeah, it was the question based upon should they incentivize like rating like later on in the season.
Oh, it was that one. You're right. Yeah. I don't think it would hurt Race the World first, which is good. And we can move on because we did kind of answer this question before. If you remember what episode it was, let him know on Discord so he can go check it out. But I don't think it would really affect Race the World first. I do think, though, that like you just have to be careful with like incentivizing later. I already think, I don't know. It's hard. I just think it's hard. I know we want later raiding, especially if we come into the game later and we want more people to raid. But you also have to admit that sometimes people just don't want to keep running the same content the same way so many times, even if the reward is better, right? Like you can make the reward better, but it doesn't mean I necessarily want to go into raid and keep doing it over and over again at the same difficulty level. I want the challenge. I want the like progress. That's why I think Mythic Plus does so well. Because Mythic Plus is consistently challenging you, and it's not just the same, like, here's the same thing over and over. I mean, it feels the same, but you're going up, right? You're constantly stepping up. All right, so let's answer his next question, because we did get that one already. Bacon Wings, next question says, totally different question / idea, though. 2 different ways to help alleviate the tank healer DPS distribution, besides making tank and healer more fun / rewarding. 6 or 7 man dungeons so that 1 or 2 extra DPS could come along. Would put more pressure on DPS to know mechanics because the healer is spread thinner. Might make healer hate their life more though, I don't know. The other possibility is 1 or 2 dungeons on the rotation where only DPS are required to clear it. Essentially bosses and trash that don't hit hard, but they do have enraged timers so the DPS needs to pump or they wipe. Tuned to where a tank or healer in a group means the group would be fine past the enraged timer, so those roles would still have a reason to play those dungeons but not required if DPS is good. I think it's tough because let's talk about the second one first because that's probably the harder one. I do think that it's hard to balance dungeons that can operate in 2 completely different ways. That is tough to make it feel even. A meta will form, right? Especially as you scale up in M+, a meta will form where people will go, okay, we're just never taking a tank into this dungeon. Or we always need a tank and a healer in this dungeon, right? Like it's one or the other. Either no one will ever bring one, which then means no tank is ever getting invited to that dungeon beyond a certain level, which means tanks can no longer now compete in title range, and healers too, right? Or it goes the other way where it's like, yeah, we know this is possible, but no one's going to actually do that because it's not valuable. So I think that's too hard. I think that's too hard to pull off. The other issue is, right, 6 or 7 man dungeon. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I think 5 man feels good, right? Once you start going over and needing 5 players, it becomes hard to incentivize the friend group, right? Right now, it's easy to incentivize the friend group, the people that you know, because you have a 5 man dungeon. Once you go to 6 or 7 man, I think it skews way harder towards needing to pug all the time. Which I think becomes the problem. And by the way, though, I love these ideas because it's such a stinking complicated problem, and like there's just like simple quick answer. But I love hearing thoughts because eventually something will be stumbled across that's like, this could be it, this could be the one. To
your point, I mean, I think it's just like one of these is gonna hurt and it's not really gonna help us, so it's not necessarily worth it. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a cool idea. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't think it necessarily will help like the healer tank problem that we kind of have right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next one, Tiger Ace Ray. Was there anything you were expecting to be announced that wasn't announced? Or maybe not. I know there's a systems panels tomorrow. So, Chicken, I'll let you go first. Was there anything that you thought would be announced that was not announced?
To be honest, no. I don't, maybe them giving a little more thought on like the dungeon pool and that kind of stuff. But to be honest, I think everything they announced was what I was kind of assuming. You know, we got a good player housing update. We got a good kind of update on just general feel of the patch, what it's going to be like. And I think we just, I mean, the update itself was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the panel was good. So really, I don't think there was anything that I was really like, oh, I want to see this, and they just didn't deliver. So
yeah, actually, in fact, I would say the same thing. I don't know if there's really anything except one that I thought was going to happen, and the one that I thought might have happened was more Demon Hunter races. And you could be like, well, we did get more. We got one more. We got one more Demon Hunter race. I thought we might have gotten like 3 or 4 more Demon Hunter races, right?
Yeah.
Because we got the Void Elves. Right, we could have easily, for the same reasoning, gotten the, not same, but similar-ish reason. It's a stretch, by the way. I know people are like, oh, the Nightborn are an easy one because they have the Fel magic guys. There's a difference between using Fel magic and having a demon implanted into your body, which is what Demon Hunters are. There is a difference, by the way. There's a stark difference between those two. However, they could have maybe written some justification for Nightborn to have Demon Hunters. Especially as the counter to Void Elves. But then also, dude, I do feel like Fel Orcs and Eridar are such an easy way to write in 2 more Demon Hunter races as like, oh yeah, that some of the more demon like Eridar, the more Fel infused Eridar, who they themselves truly became kind of demons. You know, they can operate the same way as a Demon Hunter does, and the Fel Orcs, who are so heavily infused with Fel magic that they became demons, basically, also can do the same thing, right? Like. Because those guys aren't just wielding it; they are like consumed by it, right? So, I think they could have brought in like 4 races instead of just. So that might have been the one. With that said, I actually am disappointed. I'm actually very disappointed that everything I expected happened, because it's again how predictable this expansion was in the announcements, and how little surprise there was. And I think the surprises are usually way more exciting than when you predict something and it happens.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
Again, though, a lot of it's just because Blizzard's already been leaking it to us, so it's not like it's bad stuff. It's all good stuff. It's just, I don't know, man, dude. It's not like when Dragonflight was announced and they're like, we redid flying and you're going to be able to fly everywhere. It's going to be so cool. Also, Teletrees are here now. They're back. Right? Yeah. Like, it wasn't like that. It was like, yeah, well, you told us player housing a year ago. Yeah, we just did a fight with a Void Demon Hunter. Of course we're getting a Demon Hunter. Oh, yeah, the Heronir that you guys created all the models for like a year and a half ago. Yeah, we knew they were coming. Like, no duh. Obviously, that's happening. So, I think I'm disappointed that I predicted too much. I wish it was more of a surprise. But again, it looks good. Midnight genuinely looks really good. Last question. We are getting all the questions in, but we have to be fast with this one. From Sean. Fast. With the Remix Hard Mode world content and new prey system in Midnight, I was wondering, what do you feel is a good balance for reward/difficulty for world content? Would you be okay with champion track gear or even hero track gear / quests coming from world content with a hard M+ like difficulty tier? Ooh, okay. Maybe not a quick question. I'm kidding. We'll make it quick. What are your thoughts?
No, this is a good question.
I got thoughts, but what are your thoughts? By the way, not bad thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, my quick thought is depending on the difficulty of it, I mean, I think I'd be okay with it, to be honest.
Yeah. Something
like if we're talking like true like difficult, like you know, some of this world content may, you know, require you to you know, group up actually, right? Then I think I'm honestly kind of okay with that.
Yeah. You've heard Chicken I say is probably plenty on the podcast. The problem we have with Delve Gear isn't I'm trying to find a good way to say it. Isn't that Delves are giving out hero track gear? It's that Delves are giving out hero track gear too easily. Like when I go into an 11, bro, I'm not paying attention. I'm not paying attention in 11. I'm not. Yeah. Bro, I'm literally watching Crunchyroll on my other monitor while I'm like, dude, half the time I'm in Delves, I'm watching Twitch and I'm like commenting on people's streams mid-combat in the Delve. Like, I'm not paying attention in the Delve. It's just, it's not the same as when I'm running, like, I'm not sitting there typing in someone else's chat while I'm fighting a boss in heroic raid, right? I'm not sitting there typing in someone else's. Okay, maybe I am sometimes in dungeons. But
oh my goodness.
if I'm in like an M plus, it's like a quick like as fast as I can type in and I'm done. I'm moving on, right? I'm totally fine with getting hero gear from any content, myth gear from any content, but it has to be actually like relative difficulty wise. And I know people are like, well, you know, it is actually kind of similar. Like delves are similar in gear now to some dungeons, like M plus dungeons that feel similar. Correct. However, my problem is that after delves came out, the gear that the dungeons that gear dropped from also got easier to accommodate the delves. So what Blizzard didn't do, Blizzard looked at dungeons and said, okay, this difficulty of dungeon gives heroic gear. And instead of making the delves that give heroic in the vault or something equal to that, right, equal to whatever that is, they actually just brought it down. They literally brought the difficulty of dungeons down to accommodate, like in the gear that you got from those dungeons to accommodate. So they made dungeons more rewarding to justify also having delves be more rewarding. And that wasn't the answer. I'm really hard on that. Do I like getting such powerful gear? Sure. Do I feel like I've capped out way earlier in a season than I traditionally would have? Yes, absolutely, 100%. So I have no problem. Now the other problem that also becomes like how many sources of higher end gear can you get, right? Because then eventually it's just like, we'll do 4 delves and 4 M plus and 4 world quests. It should always feel like a way that you can just do the one that you like and not feel forced to do the others, you know? Unless you're like, I want that one BIS item. Okay, that's fine. If you want your one BIS item, go do it. Like, that's on you. If you want BIS, that's on you. You go deal with that. That's a personal problem to deal with. But I'm not opposed to it. It just has to be the same difficulty, right?
Oh yeah.
Like you have to like consider quitting the game sometimes when you go after that game.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe a little hyperbole there, but I hope that makes sense, right? Like, right, and the same stress that I have dealing with players who are making fun of me and like the run's going poorly and they're standing in fire while I'm trying to heal them. You have to have some equivalent to that in the world content, right? It can't feel like how world content feels right now. It has to actually be challenging. And the problem, by the way, though, if it is that challenging, the players who genuinely like doing world content right now won't like it. I promise. If it's actually equally difficult, they won't like it. Because if they had no problem with content of that difficulty, they'd just be running M plus and Mythic Raid or whatever else. Or Heroic Raid or something. So that's my thought. I'm not opposed to it. It just has to be equal difficulty. But then if they make it equal difficulty, I don't know if it actually... I don't know what player would want to then do it. You know, your niche for that would probably be the player who likes challenging content, who likes harder content, but maybe doesn't have the time to commit to running a full M plus run. But then that's not really fair, because why should you get gear from an easier commitment equal to gear from a harder commitment, right? It really should be like, no, I also need to commit 30-minute block right here to doing this thing. So I don't know.
It have to be tailored,
Yeah, right. You kind of, again, it has to be equal in that regard. But not opposed. I have no problem with gear coming from wherever, so long as the commitment, difficulty, etc. is like consistent across the board, right?
Yep, I agree.
Myth track gear from dungeons should be equal to myth track gear from raiding, which should be equal to, if you want myth track and delves, should be equal to that, right? Like all of that across the board, heroic, etc., etc. But that is all the time we have for the podcast today. I know the original topic we were supposed to talk about was child predators on Roblox, and we never got to that. Maybe we'll save that for the Patreon if anybody's ever interested. However, Chick and I will be back next week with an epic first time ever on camera podcast episode to celebrate 1 year of the Warband. That will be our 52nd episode. We will have recorded 1 episode for every week of the year. We have not missed a single week. It has been amazing. Even when I was getting married, even when Chicken was having a baby the exact same week I was getting married, didn't stop. We didn't stop. We kept going. We never stopped. So to celebrate that, Chicken and I in the studio together. We've never recorded the Warband in the same room, so we're excited to do that. It's going to be a wonderful time. And lastly, we normally promote this middle of the podcast, but if you are looking for a guild, if you're looking for a community to be a part of, if you love World of Warcraft and just want like a nice non-toxic space to hang out in, right? You're tired of the radioactivity going on in your guild and your communities and the people you're gaming with. The pugs are mean to you, right? Not just the pugs in game, like literally your grandmother's pug is mean to you, right? Like,
Oh my gosh.
like life's rough, right? And you're looking for a good guild to hang out in. We want to invite you to join our guild, Astra. We love Astra. It's a wonderful guild. We encourage you to be a part of it. Astra is not the podcast guild, right? It is a guild that Chicken and I have found together that we love. We enjoy being a part of it. It's just a wonderful group of people, and so we like to promote it because it does mean a lot to us. This is not a paid promotion. We genuinely just love this guild and want people to connect. So if you have any questions and want to join, we do have some members of Astra in our Discord who can get you connected and plugged in. So feel free to swing by there and ask. But in the meantime, we will be back next week.
Yeah, buddy.